Mr. Morpheus says, Jews say they are Yahweh's chosen for what? Special how, and who is the God of the other people if he is the Jews' God?
I was lecturing in Nashville, Tennessee, synagogue called the West End Synagogue. After my lecture, an Assemblies of God minister came over and introduced himself to me. He wasn't completely happy with my lecture. And he asked me, you Jews think you're chosen, don't you? I asked him, where in Jewish literature do we first encounter such an idea? And he stopped, paused, and he said, the Bible. I said, then who are you complaining to? Okay, that pretty much squares it up. The Jews are chosen, yes, but chosen for what? We're chosen for wealth, for security in our possessions, to control the world? No. We were chosen to be a light to the nations, to have a relationship with God, and through that relationship bring light to the world, to change the world that would be forever augmented and bring the world closer to God. How? By serving Hashem, being loyal to Him and loving Him, having a personal relationship with Him. And as such, we bring light to the world. That's why we're also called God's firstborn, Exodus chapter 4, verse 22, Hosea chapter 11, verse 1. When the Jews carry out their mandate, it brings light to the world. Imagine a room with no windows, no opening, no aperture, completely dark. Kindle one light, and the light reaches every part of the room. The Jews have the ability to bring light to the world, and conversely, if a Jew turns his back on God, he can bring darkness to the world in a way that no one else can. Jews have this ability, I submit, to lead anything. We can produce prophets, and we can produce Madoffs. We produce it all. It's a power. And now the question is, what is the Jew going to choose? Now, when the Jew is loyal to God, so then we raise up the world. We are a mamleches kohanim v'goy kadosh, Exodus chapter 19, verse 5 and 6, a kingdom of priests and a holy nation for this purpose. If, on the other hand, the Jewish people turn away from their mandate and don't keep the Torah, as Paul urges us repeatedly not to keep it, and turn away from God, what does that do to the world? It diminishes the light from the world. It turns the non-Jews away from the Almighty. Now, if non-Jews are turned away from God, how do they express their rage at the Creator? You can't very much flail your fists at heaven. It's pointless. So in turn, what the non-Jew does is act out violence against the Jews. I lived in Indonesia 5 years. Right now, take my word for it, it's the fourth largest country in the world, and it's situated in the circle of fire. Earthquakes were routine. People suffered from a lot of. It's a beautiful place, but it's a place of a lot of natural disasters. That whole region is. But Jews, typically, we don't suffer from natural disasters. Central South America suffers from all sorts of Jews, not really. Thailand, Aceh, Indonesia, hit by a tsunami, not Jews. Jews, we all know the deal. Whether you're a believer or not, you know the Jewish people have suffered consistently throughout our history. We don't have a monopoly on it, but it's very striking. And who do we suffer from? Non-Jews. Why? It's actually a perfect systems theory, borrowing a term, in that when it's measure for measure. When the Jew turns his back on the God of Israel, we diminish the light in the world, which then robs the non-Jew from his connection with the Almighty. What does he do instead? He then attacks God's firstborn son, Israel. And that should wake the Jew up to say, you need to turn back to Torah, you need to turn back to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Thank you.
Adon olam asher malach בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא